the economy was going to be up to date, I wouldn't have been riding no bikes, playing no video games. But I would have bought a house. And they did a study based on today's economy. Like, what should minimum wage be based on today's economy to make sure an American is comfortable living a day to day life, like with the prices, how the prices is up to date. Bro, do you know how much they say you need to make an hour to be comfortable around this motherfucker? $66 fucking dollars an hour. $66 an hour, bro. Who the fuck making that?
That makes sense. $66 an hour. You're pretty much making like 100 and what? 115 to 130K a year, something like that. So that makes sense. In order to be comfortable, and I'm not sure if that's based upon like an individual or is that based upon like a family unit, right? So they're saying as an individual, you need to earn $66 an hour in order to be comfortable, or they're saying, in terms of just like as a family unit, what you need to earn in order to be comfortable. And again, if you're a family unit, that does increase the cost of things because there's two of you. And if you're going in a traditional route, or if you're going in a more current route, then that also skews everything. And then if you have children, that also skews things as well because you gotta pay for your kids and all these other things. But we're gonna get my opinion on why. Honestly, there's a couple of things in my opinion why things feel more expensive, and also just why it's taking more of your money in order to purchase things, and certain ways that we can use in order to get around that, right? So
That ain't even the kicker. You make $66 an hour. You work 40 hours a week. At the end of the month, guess how much you gonna have in whole? 10 bands. Oh no, but don't think you taking the whole 10 bands. You forgot about Uncle Sam. You're going home with 6,500. Maybe a seven ball if you lucky.
7,000. Yeah.
Okay, so eliminate all the bills and life expenses from that 6,500. You left even motherfuckers who making $66 an hour after paying all their bills and life expenses at the end of the month. They only gonna be able to save a band or two a month. So regular
Yeah.
motherfuckers like me and you was just cooked. We po. We just at this point we just on the internet seeing who can be po better. Who can be best at being po. Bro, if I knew how bad.
All right, that was a good one. So I totally agree with what he's saying. And he's pretty spot on. I'm not gonna lie. So when you're making $10,000 a month, you have taxes, and taxes probably drop your 10,000 to about 7,000. And if you're paying, certain things through the money that you're getting, so from your job, you're paying like for like health insurance, or you're paying what is it called, like an investment vehicle through your job, like a 401k. They're taking money. It can go lower than that, of course. So you're not even really getting a seven, like after taxes, you're not even really getting that too, because you got to pay for your health insurance. Even if it's only like $30 a month, it's still taking out, or 50 or whatever, it's still taking out of your total income. It depends on how much you are, basically fronting and giving out from your paycheck to your job for those benefits and things like that. So those benefit packages also decreases the amount of money you're taking home in general, but it also helps you though, because if you do have, medical things, which people do, it does help to make it cheaper for you, right? So honestly, it's a good choice for you to opt into some of those benefits. So, when he was talking about basically only having $1,000 left, I'm not gonna lie, $1,000 left over in a month is actually not that bad, right? It's not the best, but it's not that bad, and to me, it's on average. Like, it's probably above average actually, because most people don't even have $1,000 left over in a month to save. So that's honestly above average, to be completely honest with yourself. And depending on the investment vehicle that you put it into, that's actually pretty solid. If you put it into Bitcoin, you put it into gold, like you're doing pretty well. Or you're buying, silver or whatever, or stocks, you're doing pretty well. Or you're, putting that money into your business. You can actually, over time, you can actually gain from that, right? So it's really 1,000 seems small, but it could be worse, right? So that's just my perspective. So let's break it down, okay? If you're bringing home $7,000 a month, really what's eating into your money, if we're all really being honest, is your liabilities, right? So that goes from, we'll start from housing, right? So housing is probably most people major expense, right? So your housing is probably your number one expense, okay? So that can run you from 1,600 to, infinite or whatever. Let's just say 1,600 to, like, let's say 2,300. 1,600, 1,600 would probably be an apartment. 2,300 would be like a decent single family home, right? So it depends on where you live. Again, this is depending on where you live. Okay, so so that already takes out from that 7,000, right? So now you're down like, you're down like 5,000 something or something to that extent. So around 5,500 or give or take, right? So you're in the 5,000 mark, right? Just off of that alone. And then you have, most people will have a vehicle, right? And instead of buying somewhat of a modest vehicle and putting a decent down payment, guess what most people are going to do? They're going to go and buy a $40,000, $50,000 car, and their car note is going to be like $700, $800 a month, right? And that to me is when things start becoming more, you're making things more difficult for yourself, because when you have that, you're paying that for 5+ years, right? So you're paying $800 a month for 5+ years, and then plus you have certain things that can happen to your vehicle, right? So your car can break down. You may need to replace the tire. You need to get the car serviced, et cetera, et cetera. So it starts to add up, right? So it's not just that, it adds up. And then you got to pay insurance on the vehicle. Depending on the vehicle, your insurance will be higher. If your vehicle is worth more, your insurance will most likely be higher because the amount your vehicle is worth, it's costing your insurance in order to insure. Okay, so it's going to be higher, and depending on the car too. If it's a sports car, it also goes up, and I think also electric cars too make the pricing a little bit more as well. So you have your insurance that you have to pay, and that's mandatory. That's pretty much mandatory. And if you drive without insurance, you're risking it. Okay, so then that's already like, let's say 800, and let's say your insurance is 2 something. So that's around 1,000 to $1,100 or something like that. So now you're about like, let's say $4,000, right? Let's say you're around $4,200, something like that. So most people have student loans, right? And on average, probably the average student loan for an individual, let's say like 30K, right? So you got a 30K average student loan, right? And basically, with a 30K average student loan, let's say you're paying maybe like $300 a month, something like that. So student loans, basically, they let's say you have $30,000 student loans, and usually student loan, the rate isn't usually that bad, and you can kind of talk to them how much you want to pay per month, because most of the time it's going to be indefinite for people, and that's really what it is, generally speaking. So let's say it's 30,000. You're probably going to pay maybe $300, $300 to $400 a month for your student loan, probably about 300. So now you got that, right? And that's what most people have. The next, let's go into consumer debt, right? So like, when I mean consumer, I mean like credit card. So then, you got a credit card debt, and you're most likely probably going to have about $5,000 in credit card debt, right? And that's going to total you probably about another 200, so $140 to $200 a month, right? So now we were at what? We were at 4,200 or something like that. So now we're down like to 3,000 something, right? So like 3,800 or something like that. or maybe something around that. And then you're gonna have what? You're gonna have Netflix. You're gonna have all these other installment plans: Netflix, Hulu, this and that, this and that. And if you have a house, then you're also paying your water bill, right? Then you're also paying your light bill, which can fluctuate, right? Then, and after your light bill, then you're also paying what is it? Your gas, right? Your gas bill. Oh my goodness, your gas bill. And then after that, what else are you paying? Yeah. So then there's that. Then, you can have just random things happen that cost money. And this is how it goes for most people. And it's probably worse in general for most people, because the problem is people usually have they probably usually have their credit utilization is probably even worse. I'm just saying 5,000 be modest. It's probably around $10,000. And then, then you have all these affirms that people do. They affirm stuff all the time. So people are affirming things, right? And then, let's say, what else? What else do people possibly do? So all these things eat up into your money, right? Eat up into how much you're actually bringing. And let's say you got a relationship, it also eats up. Let's say you got kids, and boom, now I can see why you only got less than $1,000 after all of that. And that is somewhat even modest, somewhat. But yeah, it could definitely eat up into the money that you're bringing home. But how do you circumvent this stuff, right? First, you don't get a $50,000 car. You get a $20,000 car, put a decent down payment. Your note's probably going to be like $300, right? Your insurance is cheaper, so you're good. Secondly, of course, your home is always going to be an expense. You got to put that into your budget. It is what it is. If you got a house, maybe you can circumvent that by having people live here or something like that in your house, or you can turn it into some type of facility, whatever, so you can make some money. If you don't have, if you don't really need to live in your house or anything like that, you can try to use it to make some money for you, be some type of asset, right? And then, all those light bill, water bills, that you're just gonna have to live with that. If your light bill is too high, you can look for another company and then choose a cheaper light bill plan, which will then help you save some money. Definitely what you want to do is pay off your credit card debt. So having debt is really the crust of what people's situation is. If you the debt should be the last thing that you use. And if you use it, you have to pay it back immediately. And the thing is, most people just opt into using it instead of just getting up and doing whatever they need to make that extra cash. If you need to do Uber Eats, I've done Uber Eats. If you need to do Uber Eats to make extra cash to pay for something, just do it. Whatever you need to do, just don't, because your credit card, once you use it, it trickles. It just keeps going and going and going. It keeps going and going and going, and it's costing you to pay it back and all that stuff. It's honestly better to use your savings for that, to pay for whatever, than a credit card, because it's just going to add up. You're not going to pay it. You're going to be like, oh, it's only $40 a month. I'll just do that. And over time, if you keep using it, because most people are going to keep using it, it's going to start to add up. And that's what is so negative about a credit card. Okay? So try to have your credit card zero. Look into what you're spending for, all these small installments, because they're like holes in your cup. You got a cup, you pouring water into your cup, but you got all these small holes that's draining the water out of your cup, so it can never get filled, right? So you got all these small little installment payments. You need to go and look and see, hey, what can I take out? What do I not need? You don't need all that stuff. You don't need all of that stuff. Do you need Netflix? Do you need Hulu? Do you need HBO? Do you need Peacock? Do you need all this stuff? Do you need Crunchyroll? Do you need YouTube Premium? Not by the time you add all that stuff up, you pay like 100 and something in streaming services. Like, do you need all that? No. So that's what I'm saying. So that adds up, right? That adds up. You only want to limit your spending to necessities. Okay? And yes, you can have YouTube, like, if you got one or two things, fine. When you start going to the max, having all these things, it's not good. Stop affirming stuff. If you can't afford it, don't get it. Like, it's all good. Time is gonna be on your side. There's no need to rush anything. That's the thing. We're always rushing things, and we're always in competition and doing certain things that we don't really need to do. And that's what's really killing us. Like, it's the debt. It's really the debt. If you could just take away your debt, pay for necessities, right? Take care of your health. Um, Definitely, um, you know, limit how much installments you have that are eating your money. Don't have so much credit card debt, right? Even if you got student loans. Like, honestly, that plan that I had earlier, if you were to like do all those things I said, you could honestly have like $2,000 a month to save, 2,500 potentially, just off of what I said. Easy. You could. But guess what? We're buying these $700 cars. We're doing this. We're doing that. But I'm telling you, you can save money. You just need to look at what's bleeding your money and eliminate it. Okay? So, yeah, that's the cost of living, guys. Please don't be a part of it. I understand it's difficult. Yes, there are certain things that happen where you do need to take out some debt. I totally get it. I'm not someone that's just like hard line, but like, think about it. Like, if you can limit all the debt you currently have, and then let's say something does happen that you need to take out a loan for, it's more easier to digest than like, oh, I have this car I'm paying for. I have these credit cards I'm paying for. Oh, I got this Affirm I'm paying for. Oh, I bought this item on credit that I'm paying for. Oh, that I'm doing this. So debt is really the enemy. You have all these things, right? And then if you got something crazy that happens that you need to take out a $40,000 loan, it's like, dude, or even a $10,000 loan, it's like, dude, you already, swamped with everything else. So that's all I want to say to you guys. I appreciate you all for watching my stream. Hopefully, I can get over this little code I got because it's actually annoying. I appreciate you all for watching my stream. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.